Geoff Maxwell, please.
Can I borrow my wife to operate the
You most certainly may. I'm sure you don't have to borrow her. I'm sure she's a willing supporter.
So what does she have to do to change slides?
Sorry?
Oh, there we go. So all you have to do is push enter every 10 seconds. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Now, I wish to bring to your attention the concerns of many residents of Akaroa regarding freedom camping. I'm aware that there have been many complaints to Council, but most appear to have been brushed off and not acted on. There is a perception that the seriousness of the issue is not really understood and that Council is reluctant or unwilling to address the concerns the residents raised. To help raise your awareness, a small group of residents have recorded some of the activities of freedom campers that they experience on a daily basis over summer. I have agreed to present the submission on their behalf. Now, if you don't flag them, not too fast, just slowly.
It got stuck.
I apologise for a spelling mistake, but I didn't actually prepare these slides. There are a number of issues that arise from what you are seeing. Most of the smaller converted vans do not comply with the new regulations, despite most proudly displaying the blue self-contained sticker on their rear. A porta potty tucked under the bed, which cannot be used until the van is unpacked, is not what the regulations specify. Yet they continue to camp in our town with impunity. Freedom campers are active on social media and are well aware that compliance officers are seldom to be seen. Freedom camping is currently permitted on land administered by Council unless specifically prohibited, providing the van meets the self-contained requirements. As a consequence, we have campers parked in some of the most scenic locations in Akaroa. The decision to allow freedom camping in residential areas was short-sighted, ill-considered, and quite frankly offensive. Council is under no obligation to provide locations for freedom campers to camp for free. But it does have an obligation to residents and ratepayers who are fed up with their town being treated like a gypsy caravan camp. It is our submission that freedom camping should not be permitted anywhere in Akaroa or its environments. To ensure compliance, Council needs to budget for at least one inspector who is locally based, able to get out and about early morning and late evening, 7 days a week. It is my understanding there is currently only 2 enforcement officers for the whole of Banks Peninsula, including Sumner, and they don't work weekends. Although this submission is to the long-term plan, we need a short-term resolution. We ask that Council takes the necessary steps to ensure the regulations and bylaws are reviewed and are in place for next summer. Thank you.
Thank you. Raf.
Thanks very much for that. I mean, completely agree with you. It seems nonsensical that we allow this to go on. Are there any examples that you've seen around the country where compliance and fining and enforcement is working in a local area like this?
Well, the only one I'm aware of was, I think, Nelson, that has a total ban on freedom camping within the city area. I think there was an article in the paper yesterday. They're still having problems. There was a person camped in a children's park, and there's still camper vans parking. It's really, it's easy. You can change the regulation, introduce the bylaws, but these people are smart. They're not dumb, and they're constantly in communication with each other. You actually have to have the enforcement.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Is there an example of somebody basically going around and whacking these people with a fine?
Well, I don't personally know. I know that Queenstown has got tough and are issuing fines.
I mean, that'll change things pretty quickly.
No, they've had to change to clamping because the fines are ineffective against
because they're not paying them.
Well, they don't. If they've got a hired van, there's no mechanism for collecting them after they've, left the country.
Well, you can work with the van companies to deal with that.
No, but that's the problem. That is one of the many problems with this.
But this can be solved.
Yes, but central government needs to solve that one.
Sorry?
central government
Yeah, well,
needs to
that's
solve that.
a common problem.
I know that the rental companies do have a responsibility, in much that I've received a speeding ticket in France a couple of years ago.
Speeding tickets different from a bylaw, so you can't enforce it. That's a central government. The speeding tickets are not bylaws; they're central government fines. Right. And yes, you can do that, and yes, same things happened to me with a rental car. But I think that you've got to. The bylaw is difficult because they can't enforce them through the camping van companies. Right. So it is a problem that's been raised with central government. Absolutely. And we're hoping that which will result in some change, I'm sure. Yeah. So there is a working party that's looking at that, but I mean the general issue is around Akaroa, and it is certainly something that I don't know the time frame for the. I'm looking at Andrew because he's our sort of kind of go-to person on
you'll be
subject.
Aware of the community survey which has been done of Akaroa residents, and I imagine that you and the people that you're representing here today would have been part of that, and I hope that you've responded to that detail in the same kind of detail. I'll certainly make sure that your submission goes through into that piece of work as well. But I mean, the community board are absolutely determined that we make some further changes to ensure that we don't have a repeat of what we saw last summer again this summer. In the meantime, there is some work going on between local government and central government. There's a working party which I'm a part of, and the Akaroa experience is one of the areas of focus for that working party, but it's become clear that what we're experiencing in Akaroa is by no means exclusive to Akaroa. This problem is nationwide and needs to be dealt with as a national issue. There
has been an explosion in the numbers. It's just unbelievable. You know, even during winter, it would settle down, but even still, getting in May, the same numbers are pouring into town.
Yeah. So Nelson's differentiated between self-contained and non-self-contained. So they do provide parks for, but a limited number of parks.
To be fair, if they're self-contained, they don't need any facilities. They just need a paddock.
Yeah.
But if they're not self-contained, then they should be in a camping ground.
They should be. Absolutely, they should be. Well, we've reached our time. So, look, thank you very much for going to the trouble of making the submission. It's very much appreciated. Thank you. Right, we have thank you. We have an adjournment now, just briefly until 11 o'clock. So that's just a 10-minute break. Thank you.